What's happening, people of the world? Welcome back to another episode of the Whiskey and Wade Show with me, your host, Tommy Mack.
And me, your better host, Tyrone McKenna.
And you know that the show is brought to you in association with Dragon Claw Whiskey, the finest in the land.
Yep.
And, you know, I missed last Wednesday, I missed this Wednesday, so today we have a bonus episode and we're joined by a very special guest, one of the most prolific combat sports raiders in Europe. It's the one and only Gareth A. Davies.
Boom.
Welcome to the show, yes.
Whiskey and White.
Yep.
Lovely to be here.
I want to bring up, first of all, I was going to wear a vest today. This man is a hero for his vest collection. Your
Yeah,
vests.
Tyrone thinks he's a fashionista, you know.
Vestas in waistcoats.
Yeah, waistcoats, yeah.
Yeah, I've just slipped one on, Sam. I've got the arms
I
bare
love it.
today. I've worked hard at my body in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
I was about 16 stone, and I've actually, talking about all my vests, I've had to have them all taken in, and that's always a nice thing, because you just think, I ain't getting fat to push these buttons out, you know, but thank you very much.
It's Fate Week. How are you feeling about the vibe of Fate Week? This event coming up. It's a massive thing for
World
Belfast.
title action.
Yeah, it's a weird week because there's three world title fights on one night in three venues in the UK. So that's ridiculous, frankly. It's ludicrous. Do I look into towards the fans?
Because it's on Spotify too, so...
Okay. So what I'd say is that Belfast has Lee Wood has a massive following fighting Mauricio Lara. That's in Manchester. They couldn't get it in Nottingham. Chris Billum-Smith against Lawrence Okoli, WBO Cruiserweight title, down on the beach in Bournemouth, at the Vitality Football Ground, outdoors. That'll be a balmy atmosphere. But it's always a pleasure to come to Belfast. I get goosebumps when I'm here. I'm quite invested I love culture and history. I'm half Celt, half Italian myself, so I feel, when I go to Scotland, Ireland, Wales, I feel something about being in that land. Yeah, home, because the nature of the people. And I've always felt very strongly, whenever I've come to Belfast, that it's a very special populace. It's they're very hard, the Belfast people, for me. They're hard people, but they are so open. And there's a beautiful openness and honesty.
Oh, go ahead. We've got the coffee.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Is it bottled water or tap water?
We'll probably have a jug of tap water and 3 glasses, I think.
Yeah,
probably.
go for it, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks very much, Catherine.
Can I have?
Yes, I'm just need to change that. Sorry.
Okay.
Catherine trying to get her stretch out her 15 minutes.
But I think what I'd say is, I don't know if you're editing that bit. We just carry on.
No,
we
go
carry
ahead.
on.
No,
As
yeah,
is. Yeah. That there is. They're just so communicative. The people of Belfast, and there's a fearlessness about them, and so to bring it back to the fight week here, I've spoken to people. Thank you, madam. That's brilliant. Cheers. A lot of people don't know the fight was going on, but they go, "Oh God, it's Conlon fighting this weekend." Once you mention it, but this is a fight city.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was a city at war.
Yeah.
A couple of decades ago as well, so that's real war, but it's a fight city in terms of the way people are. It's a sporting city, and I think Belfast will breathe with Conlon tomorrow. He'll be lifted and carried there. The song Grace, all of that, the committing. That's what I love about fight sports. That's what I love about you guys. When you commit, and I understand that. Yeah. I understand that. And I think I understand that as a Celt.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Well, where's your people from?
My mum and dad, my mum's from Italy, my mum's family's from Italy originally, my dad's from the Rhondda Valleys. Again, a very tough, very honest place. I can speak Italian. Sì, parliamo italiano.
Capito.
I speak Spanish as well, and I was speaking with Lopez in Spanish this week. And just to finish on
You
that,
went to university for being a linguist, didn't you?
I did. Spanish and Italian at uni, and then I did a master's in linguistics and journalism. But I think having languages helps in the sport. Certainly having Spanish because of all the Mexicans and the Hispanic fighters. But I don't know. I do at times romanticize fight sports because I think it's very raw. It's very visceral. But at the same time, there's it's a calling. That's what I ask you guys. It's. I don't want to turn this into me
No,
interviewing you, but
well,
The journalist is making it about us now.
the thing is about Belfast being a fight city is, in particular West Belfast, there's a club, there's 2 clubs in every district,
Yeah, like I think it's something crazy, like 28 clubs within 3 mile radius. So like,
he's from a place called Andersonstown, Andytown.
Yeah.
There's 2 clubs there. I'm from Lenadoon. There's 2 clubs, like one at that side of the street, one at the top of the road. But I boxed out of his area.
but I always think like in other cities there's like football or soccer or football's Gaelic, by the way. But they all have different sports. But West Belfast is just solely boxing.
there isn't
every
football there. There isn't.
Every
Because
single
the opportunities for football, for soccer
Isn't it?
in Belfast, in Ireland as a whole, isn't great. You have to be exceptional to even get a sniff of.
And then you go
over in
somewhere
England,
else,
yeah.
probably.
England, yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
boxing here, it's real working class.
Yeah.
tried and tested. We've seen people come from
Yeah.
the area going to the heights of like
Yeah.
Carframpton, McConnon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
And they live like you say, they live in your street. You box in their clubs. They're no different from me, so it's an attainable dream.
And I think the reason why Belfast do have such a good reputation of boxing is because every single kid in the area go to a boxing club. Not
Yeah,
every
at some
every
stage
single
in their
person
life.
you've met
Is
today.
that because you need to know how to look
Fight.
after yourself here as
Well,
well?
I
Do
was-
you need to know to fight?
I was sent there to fight. I was getting in trouble in the street a lot,
I can see that.
and it was mostly my brother got us into trouble. But my daddy sent us down to the boxing club, and he told us we have to stay there to learn to fight. And once we learned to fight, then we can leave. But by the time I learned to fight, it was pretty good. So
It's funny though, isn't it? Like, I mean, I played a lot of rugby and cricket. I've always loved martial arts, and I've trained in martial arts. But when you're growing up, you are going to get into some scrapes sometimes.
Yeah,
it just
always.
happens, doesn't
Always.
it? But it's fascinating when once you train it, you don't anymore,
Yeah,
do you?
that's
Once
it.
you train it, it's like on the rugby pitch. You're going to fight with the biggest guy there, and you don't give a shit, yeah. But once the whistle goes, you stop.
Yeah,
And once that's what I always find amazing. Like there's so little afters in fight sports. When the
Yeah.
bell goes, boom.
It's very rare, and if somebody does continue something after the bell, they're like scumbags. Everyone's like, "Wow, why is he getting
Well,
on?"
a lot of people had to go at AJ recently for putting his head in on Franklin after the fight.
Yeah.
Remember
I
that?
didn't even watch the fight.
Why?
no, I didn't.
Do you know what? To be honest, I had a bit of a sickener with boxing, so I was like, I just need to get my head shot from it,
Really?
just to get.
What was that after your last fight?
After my last fight, I'm boxing 20 years, and I was like, I just kind of lost the passion for it, so I just took like a
This is the
step
Bill
back.
Smith loss, yeah.
No. After the Bill Smith loss, I was feeling down, and then I had 2 fights after, but I had 2 wins, and it still wasn't making me feel up.
Why?
I don't know.
Do you
so
know
that's
yet?
why
Do you
I had
know
to.
yet? Do you know now?
I think I was just sick, and I just need to have a break, and
Is it a mental health thing?
not mental health.
Are you sure?
I don't know. I think you're onto something, Gareth.
No,
but
because we
Yeah,
all,
yeah.
Listen, I'm 25 odd years older than you guys, and when I was younger, no one ever talks about mental health, and I'm really glad people talk about it now.
Especially men. Men don't
I know
talk about it.
exactly. It's like not going to the doctor.
Yeah.
It's like
I bottle up everything and say, like, I don't talk about
yeah. I
about
mean, I
anything.
think once
No,
it's out, once it's out.
Basically,
I
what
think-
happened was, it wasn't like I was so close to breaking through to the next level.
Yeah.
So I had to Bill Smith fight the first time I fought a 1.
Yeah,
and I
I
was
remember
like,
that. Yeah,
Fuck's sake!
you're
like,
very unhappy with the scoring in that as well.
and it's
weren't
like,
you?
that win would have changed my whole life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I went back to the drawing board and I was training, and then I fought him again and got stopped, and I was like, jeez, I'm right back down at the bottom of the ladder.
Snakes in
And then I
the
was
That's
like,
what I
do I
was saying,
do I have the the
Desire, the
to
ambition to do it
climb
again.
the ladder again?
Yeah, do you?
And I do. Well, I don't know. Then I started doing stand-up comedy, and I was getting a buzz off.
Yeah, yeah.
A similar buzz. There's no high like boxing and winning a fight, but
Were you more nervous for the stand-up comedy
No,
than you
no,
were
I
for the
would be.
boxing?
He
I
was
wasn't.
alright.
No. Because what's the worst that could happen? Nobody laughs. The worst that could happen in the boxing ring.
Have you bombed?
Nah, not yet. Touch wood. I'm actually doing a show tonight, but...
Are you?
Yeah, I haven't
Go on,
bombed.
give us one line from the show tonight.
He's very good in front of it.
It's observational comedy.
Yeah.
Because you're very observant. You're very present. I noticed that about when you spoke to me yesterday. You're a very present person.
Yeah.
And that's that kind of focus you take into the ring as well, don't you?
Yeah. So
You know.
This man's changing everything to art. This is a new interview now.
But in terms of stand-up, no, I don't get nervous because of what I said, and then it's a new wee release for me. But I'm just back from Australia. I was out there sparring with Jay Obata.
Oh yeah.
And when I was out there, I'd done a couple of gigs in Australia as well. When I was there for a training camp sparring, I was like, fuck, see if there's any open mic.
Just kind of walk up nights, mic nights?
Yeah, open mic. And so I'm buzzing, so it's all good, like. But
what are your themes in those?
So I just talk about my own life and stuff that's happened, because that way you can't be accused of stealing jokes, or you can't be influenced.
And you can't
by
really
anyone.
mess up because it's happened.
I don't even have to. I don't write anything down because
You really don't?
it's all stories in my life.
Really?
But stories that when you go to the bar and you go, "Hey, I'm on here, this and blah blah blah."
The likes of when he came over from England, he came over when he's 8 years old, and he's walking through Lanardown. And
don't be fucking still giving away the stuff.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Nah.
Okay.
You don't do it on the podcast, then? Do
No,
you? Okay.
no. Sometimes
Listen,
loads of times he goes to giveaways.
I tell you a similar thing about talking about colour and stuff, and it is very unusual to have a mixed race man with such a strong Belfast accent.
So
it's very disarming. It's very
the
beautiful.
gag.
It's quite disarming.
That is the gag.
Because I remember, first time I brought some American journos over. They couldn't believe there were black guys with Cockney accents.
Yeah.
In London. They were like,
what's going on?
they're like looking weirdly. Yeah. You go, all right, mate. Yeah, we'll park over there. And they're like, the black guy with the Cockney accent. Like, come on.
The Frank Bruno.
Let's swing it back to you, Gareth. How did you get into journalism in combat sport?
Yeah.
Was it a passion before?
Well, two of my heroes growing up as a little boy were Bruce Lee and Muhammad Ali. Okay. And I thought Muhammad Ali was just such a beautiful human being for me, and I was entranced by him. And my parents worked abroad almost all their lives. They worked abroad in the RAF and then in the Foreign Office. And so I think we were in Berlin when I was a little boy, and then I went away to boarding school when I was 10. But in the times that Muhammad Ali was in his pomp. So I was born in 65. So when Ali was fighting, they could get American services. This is what I remember: American services, TV or radio.
Yeah.
So I
You're
do
able to watch
listening, either listening or watching. And I always remember when I was a little kid begging my dad to let me watch Sports Night. You're too young to remember Sports Night. It was on a Wednesday on the BBC, and the boxing was always last. I used to beg my dad to let me stay up to watch it, till 10:30 or something.
Were you allowed?
Yeah, always. Yeah, my dad's a huge sports fan. Yeah, but everything. Rugby.
Are you everything?
No, I don't have a football team. I was an Arsenal correspondent for 4 years with Wenger and that whole group of Winterburn, Bold, Dixon, Seaman, and then Manny Petit and Overmars and Bergkamp, who was probably the best of all of them. Ian Wright. That era, I covered that. But I've got no. I don't have any emotion for football because it was rugby and cricket when I was growing up, and a love of, I had friends that we all got into, we'd get into the Gracies, Chuck Norris, Nunchucks, just doing shit.
Yeah.
I probably wanted to be a professional cricketer at one point in my teens.
Really?
Yeah, I was very good at cricket.
I was about to say Yanni good, but
yeah, I was good. I played a decent standard.
What happened? Just
grew my hair, smoked a load of weed, met girls, went to uni. The only guy playing in school in the uni cricket team. I played rugby for Exeter at uni as well. Yeah. Chirpy little scrum half.
Did you ever have a go?
Do you know what? I go from 0 to 100 like that, but I don't. I've learned to fight with a stick in China. I've learned martial arts. I've done kickboxing training and sparring, but I've never I never really. We used to
Queensbury.
No, we used to box a little bit, training.
For rugby?
For
well,
rugby,
I know a lot of
for
them
rugby,
do
yeah.
for pre-season.
Yeah, but I mean, they all do now, I think. But it's just, I think I have a love and understanding for fighting, but I'm not a fighter in that way in this life. For the right reasons, I do a lot of things, like get involved.
Yeah.
You know, I have children, I have grandchildren. You know, sometimes as a man, things rise in you.
Yeah.
But I don't have any fear of that combat.
Yeah.
But I'm just not naturally. I don't generally draw fights for some reason. I'm not someone who people have wanted to fight with in my life very much.
Yeah.
You know, I just think my energy is not like that.
Too nice.
I can be fucking horrible as well, but I don't know. I don't think. I think only maybe twice in my life I've hit someone first, and I didn't like the feeling of that.
Yeah.
I think I'd rather
get hit and then hit back.
Yeah. I feel that's right. I don't naturally want to go after people. I need a reason.
Yeah.
And for me, I need a reason.
See, being a journalist in boxing, obviously you'll be around boxers all the time and different people, and you grow to have a relationship with them, you have friendships, probably a lot of friendship with a lot of boxers. But when you're down and you're being a journalist, does that sway you to be?
Yeah, does it affect their impartiality?
The older I get, I've been doing this 32 years now in boxing, and obviously I've started off writing, Telegraph, Ring Magazine, Fighters Only magazine. I was a consultant.
I think you've done everywhere,
pretty much everywhere, and then all the way through the MMA, different TV networks, and all the big MMA outfits, and obviously, even on BT Sport, I've done some boxing presenting, but I'm working for Top Rank this week. I'm on Talk Sport regularly with commentary, so no one. And you know this, and I have weird days as well when I wonder whether I should do it anymore. You can't buy experience, and you get better at it. It's a very unique sport, it's a very creative sport. I have massive respect for fighters. I never forget what you're doing. I will never run you down. I am critical, but I'm not. If it's some guy who's scaffolding and he's 4 stone overweight, I'm not giving him shit over that. That is what he is. He might be the glue on that show. He might be the guy that gets you to that.
Yeah, to the next level.
And also, I think I know what it is to lose, and I think I know. I feel like I have an understanding of fighting and where you compartmentalise things. So I know when I played sport how I commit. Yeah. I know I die on the field. I would. Yeah. I know I would. So, and I know you have to have that attitude as a fighter and compartmentalise it, and then you find out how much you can take. Yeah. And then you're training your process. Yeah. You're backing your game plan. You're not exploding when you don't have to. It's an art, isn't it? It's an art. But mentally and emotionally, I really care about fighters. I really do care. And the older I've got, I'm 58 coming up, the more I fit them. Yeah. So my rule is they're dismantling the hotel. my rule is I will write and broadcast about someone what I would say to their face. Yes. And that's how I try to keep it.
That's a good rule.
Well, even if it's with Dillian White, we've had a few little rows.
You've had a couple of rows with a good few boxers,
but they're not. I think they're wrong over what they've said because someone said, "Oh, you said this about me." A lot of things in boxing gets second hand, doesn't it? Yeah. Because, as I say, genuinely, I've realised a couple of things that I recall. Carol Hatton getting annoyed with me writing one piece about Ricky when he fought Manny Pacquiao. And I've been to a carpet stall. I know the family really well. I'd interviewed Ricky millions of times. This is the height of his success. Yeah. And I wrote one article, and Carol rang me, and she was unhappy about it because people are sensitive. Yeah. Dillian White was sensitive about a headline on a Telegraph story, but my theory is I need to go and talk to those people. And if the other side of it is, it's really hard not to get close to fighters when you're following their careers, you know, because you do enjoy them, and they, you know, I like to write poetry about you, and I think it's appreciated over the longness of time. So you can't get too close because you've got to be critical. But I'm one of us. I'm in the industry.
You are getting too close, so
it's a double-edged sword. What I don't like is people sitting in armchairs, criticising people on social media and being cruel.
Like being a journalist harder because everyone's a journalist now. Like everyone's
citizen journalism. No, because I just do what I do. I do what I do, and I do it to the best I can.
Do you ever feel the pressure of being, because you're at the top of your game? Like you're one of the best.
No, I don't feel like I'm at the top.
Do you not?
No, I believe I'm at the top.
Yeah.
But I'm only as good as my last story that I wrote half an hour ago, or my next recording for. No,
do you feel pressure on it?
No, because I'm on. When I'm doing it, I'm on. Yeah. You know, I'm. Right, yesterday I was getting a bit nervous because the camera guy couldn't get the microphone to work properly. That was making me nervous. Yeah. But I couldn't wait to do it.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like I belong in this industry. I also feel like an underachiever because I think I could have done so many other things. I'm really into music. But it's just outside of it. I mean, I have done a lot of other journalism. And you know, and been involved in documentaries and all kinds of things. But I think it's like you saying about yourself, and I want to know about you as well, Tyrone, because when we all want to know about Tyrone. No, it's like if you have it in you, we all have days when I want 4 packets of biscuits, 3 coffees, and I don't want to fucking get up, and I want to watch four episodes of a Netflix series. I hate those days because I hate myself like that. They're very rare now. But if you're driven, you're driven. But the older you get, the more you realise you shouldn't be too hard on yourself because that drive will come up the whole time, even if you let the drive rest. And I'm driven, I think.
Yeah.
You know, I've got a lot going on.
Still driven?
Yeah, God, yeah.
Can you remember what was the first fight or the first show that you covered?
Oh, God. Oh, I wish you'd asked.
Showing the age.
Well, it would have been about 1991. I reckon it was York Hall, Bethnal Green, and I reckon it was Colin Dunn.
Right.
You probably haven't heard of Colin Dunn. He was one of the Islington boxers, because I used to do a lot of the Islington boxers at the time. The Gallaghers, the Travellers from Camden, all amazing, because Camden and Islington's a big area for the Travellers and for boxing clubs. There's loads in Islington. So it would have been York Hall, Bethnal Green. But my first really memorable fights would be people like Billy Schwer in world title fights on a Wednesday night.
Wednesday?
A Wednesday night. Ringing in your copy on the phone, talking it down the phone to the newspaper.
Wednesday there used to be a boxing night, you're saying?
They say here
there were lots of fights
on Wednesday and Friday.
Yeah, Wednesday
back
and Friday.
in the day.
Yeah. But
what about you? What about your drive?
I'm still driven at the minute.
You got kids?
You have 2 kids.
Little ones, yeah?
Yeah, well, 9 and 10.
That's little. That's
but
little.
I'm still driven. I still want to give him a good life. And my 3 defeats is Prograve, who's one of the best in the world. It's Jack Carroll, who is one of the best in the world. And then O'Hare Davies, who is potentially fighting for a world title here soon. So, and Jack Carroll is 1 point. O'Hare Davies is 1 point. So I know where level I am. I'm not kidding myself when I say I could be world level.
Could you beat those guys in the second fight?
100%.
So what are you talking about? So what are you talking about then? You know what level you're at. What are you talking about?
I know what level I'm their level.
Oh, you are their level. That's what you mean. You are their level. Yeah, I agree.
I
think
agree. Jack Carroll, I honestly believe would beat on a rematch. I think O'Hare Davies. I fought him.
Controversial. Both fights were controversial.
I fought him in what do you call it? COVID. No crowd. I'm a crowd fighter.
So in your head, you beat Josh Taylor then as well.
Josh is a mate, so I'll not slander him.
Josh is fantastic.
Yeah, he's a legend.
He's got a big fight coming up now.
He has. I did a programme with him and Tio down the line in Liverpool a couple of weeks back for ESPN and Top Rank, and it's those two arguing. It's called Trash Talk, and in the end, Tio was even trashing me. What you want me with your hair?
Who do you fancy for that?
I think Josh will win.
Yeah.
And I think it'll be on points. I think Tio will be bullish, and I think Josh will outbox him. But you could call it a pick'em if you wanted to.
Yeah, I think it's a 50-50.
You know?
I really,
but one's coming up,
rate
isn't he?
Theo. I think Theo kind of maybe like all over the place, you know.
His mindset, I don't think, is
mentally,
great at the minute.
But in talent and ability wise, he's like...
He's lethal.
Yeah,
but I think boxing's mental.
It's a two-horse race.
So mental.
Yeah.
That's where I think we're going to discover more and more about that, how you train your mind.
Yeah.
You know.
I think Tyson Fury's a perfect example of it. I know they're always
just a lunatic.
But it's like for him, you know, to get in and take them shots off Wilder, it's all mental. The come back, and you know, like, do you see the shape he's in, and compared to all the, you know, like the other top heavyweights, so you know that he's not training as hard as the other guys.
Oh, I don't know
about that.
I don't
He
know.
just got a
I don't mean as hard. Sorry, that's the
He's
wrong
a giant.
terminology.
Yeah,
that's the wrong terminology.
Yeah, he's a
but he's
freak.
not
He's a
training
freak.
scientifically the way they are.
Even admits he has paints and he doesn't.
Like these guys are, you know, doing everything, you know.
Well, Anthony Joshua is the opposite, isn't he?
Yeah.
I don't mean in any way about Anthony Joshua negatively. What I mean is he's probably has been the most sports scientific athlete
and his,
in boxing
and his
we've ever
body
seen.
Do you think that
shows
fucks you over a bit?
Yeah.
Being two.
Yeah.
Like some
You
people
put
say,
yourself
you need to
under
live a life
pressure,
of 100%. But you know, I think I puts too much pressure on you, and then you aren't happy in the sport.
I think you've got to be yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Fury's strength is. He knows how good he is ability-wise. And so in his mind, he's confident and comfortable.
He comes from two fighting travel
Backgrounds,
families, right? There's 10 generations of bare-knuckle fighters in the family. He's 6
So
foot
he's
10,
confident?
19 and a half stone. He's been through the very... He was in the GB amateur team, wasn't he? He's been all the way through that.
He boxed for Ireland too. He came over here.
Yeah, exactly. He boxed for the Irish title against Martin Rogan, who I ran into at the airport when I arrived. He's a taxi driver.
Yeah, that's right.
And he came over and gave me a big hug. He's a lovely Martin. 10 years, he's an absolute lunatic, but in a great way. 10 years since he's boxed. No, I think Fury's someone. It's when you know, you know.
Yeah.
They have people. I'm close to him. I'm close to his team. They worry about his fights like anyone else.
But
like,
he doesn't. It doesn't seem. And you know
I
what?
think he gets in a trance.
His
almost.
ability is the top tier because when he was going through the hiatus, then he was, you know, whatever, 30
26 stone or something now.
I don't think he suffers mentally when he fights. He suffers mentally when he doesn't fight.
But
I think that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like when I'm out of camp, I suffer more mentally. I'd be annoyed.
Talk to us about it.
Focus.
Talk to us about
Just
it.
like I'm in camp, I'm eating healthy. I'm training every day, twice a day. I feel good about myself. I know fights ahead. I'm happy. I'm in a good place. And then when I'm out of camp,
You've got a target. You've got all
and
those
then
things.
out of camp, and then I realise that all my friends work. I've nobody to hang about with during the time. I'm sitting by myself.
Have
and
you
going,
spoken about this on the podcast?
No, never.
Okay, good.
And
good.
And I'm like, what? Like,
Have you ever listened to friggin' intervention?
And then I'd be like, I start eating junk food. I'm eating shit. I'm drinking every day or most days because I'm bored. There's nothing else to do during the day. I'm out of camp. Everyone's working.
You can always pick up the
Why
phone.
don't you write? Why don't you dictate? Why don't you spend an hour a day during that dictating your life into?
That's why we've started this podcast.
Yeah,
we've started doing other things.
It's lovely. It's a beautiful atmosphere on your podcast, Whiskey and White.
He loves dictating.
No, but like when I didn't have anything, I didn't have like this podcast. I wasn't doing like.
And you know what? See, the
You're left
podcast.
with doing nothing, really.
We spoke about this. Like the podcast is almost like you can come in and switch off from the outside world, and then
like I think that's why you see a lot
bubble.
of like,
there's a bubble.
that's why you see a
crack.
lot of sports people, footballers, all sports people like get heavily into gambling or get heavily into drinking or anything like
Have
that.
you got an addictive personality?
I have a very
Big time he
addictive
does.
personality. So
Why not have another job then?
He's lazy.
I do podcasting.
Oh, okay, that's your other
That's
job.
why we're starting. We're trying.
We want this to, take off, and we're going the right way, so that it can be an income, you know, where we can
Subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe.
It
to
makes you
Patreon.
subscribe, Patreon.
But no, but that was like back like a couple of years ago. That was kind of like my kind of mental mind frame after fights was I'll go to the bar, or eat shit and not train. I don't train at all. like for weeks after fights.
But no, because it must be such a high.
Yeah.
It's all down to you. The adrenaline slows it all down, doesn't it? And it's this amazing moment.
And then
when
you
you
feel
win,
like,
when you win, you're there. When you lose, you're there.
But like right after all that high, and then you come the next day, it's all
everyone goes back to work and goes back to their normal life, and you're like, Jesus, I've been focusing to do all this.
Yeah, and that's
because it's a
What am I
calling.
gonna
It's
do?
not
I
a
need
normal
some-
job.
Yeah.
It's not a normal
And
job.
then as well, I don't know if you feel like it's turned, but you feel like you've missed out on so much during your camp. You're trying to make up for lost time before you go on to the next camp. So then you start indulging in fast food and alcohol.
That's why I like having a fight right after. Like, a fight date right after I fight. I want a fight date for that week just to work on to keep me focused. You need focus for after the fight instead of letting the fighter go home and spend 3 or 4 or 5 weeks indulging too much.
Who in those aspects of your life, because we're both talking about the same thing, who do you rely on as a mentor for those scenarios?
I'm
each
Tommy
other.
McCarthy, you know?
Yeah, really.
I phone him and go, what will I do? Go, fuck, it's up to you. So he's the worst.
So we talk about
That's
all
great.
the problems there, but even
So you
boxing.
don't put on the friendship for the
No,
podcast?
No, we
We've been
grew up
friends.
together from we was.
Tony too. But that's great you've got each other. Because I'll tell you something as well that you don't know till you're older. I've had lots of different contracts and done loads of different amazing things and worked in, 100 cities in 40 different countries in my time. And, now reaching my late 50s.
I was in 41.
It's
I
trying
was
to
in
story
41 different countries.
Well, I'm sure you were.
Only
I'm sure you were. You're just competitive.
storytelling.
Competitive. And I've got 2 grandchildren.
I've got 3
9
on the way.
Have you? How many on the way?
No, only joking. I haven't finished with having kids.
Okay.
4
Well,
kids.
go ahead, you were saying
I was
anyway.
going to say, late 20s,
Early
33.
30s.
early 30s.
Yeah.
You don't know yet how life changes in your 30s,
And
your
you know,
40s,
that's
and your 50s.
something that
But it's worth thinking about it, about where you're going to be with what you know from boxing. Because when you finish, you'll have been in it 15 years probably, something
Yeah,
like that.
I'm 24
20
years.
yeah.
From the very start.
8 years old.
So all those things you learnt from it, think about where you're going to take them. Obviously to your comedy or to your broadcasting, but where you're going to take
Yeah.
those things. you
Yeah.
know?
So that's something that I've just kind of learned in the last year. My life since I lost the balance the second time, it's been like, here, do you want to do commentate in these shows? And then next thing, do you want to do comedy? And then we get offered a role in a movie, and then podcasting, all stuff that wasn't.
What's the movie?
Well, we knocked it back because
Well,
we had a live show.
The
We were doing a
agent didn't
live
give
show.
you enough money for it.
No,
That's it.
we outpriced them, but
What
Were
actually
you going to be
talk-
fighting in it as well?
no, we're going to be like hard
Henchmen.
men, henchmen.
But
Baddies.
Yeah.
You've
Actually-
struggled to have you two as baddies. To
I know
be
we're too
honest.
smelly.
But we're proper actors,
I can see
we
you.
can turn
No, I
around
can see
and
you in a
sing.
movie.
I actually.
Hey, if it's a role for me, I'm happy to be there as
me
well.
an actor.
He's in a
You
child
have an
actor.
actor's face. You both have
But
actor's
I
face.
watched the
Matey
film
Celt,
that you were
actually
in.
watch it.
The Mighty Celts.
Yeah,
That's his-
that's my ring name. But it was a
That's
film.
his movie. He's a child star.
So I was the main actor, and Gillian Anderson from Scully X-Files.
Oh, yeah.
She was my mummy, and then Robert Carlyle from Full Monty was my dad. in it.
They were his
What about well?
understudies.
But I watched the film you were in. I love it. You haven't watched it, have you?
What is it?
The
Brokeback Mountain?
Journeyman.
Oh
Journeyman.
no, he's very good. Paddy's just contacted me a few days ago. We went up and have a walk with him in
Journeyman?
Sheffield.
See if anyone.
But
That's
it's
a
kind of
sad
based
one,
on
isn't it?
Michael
Yeah.
Watson. The outline of having a brain injury and
See if any of you viewers or boxers are into boxing. Watch that show. It's a tearjerker if you're
very
into
good.
boxing.
It's very good.
And I was shocked to see you, and I was like, "Oh, fucker's Gareth."
And I've got 3 lines in it
And
as
then-
well.
We being a reporter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, everyone all had their own. Like it was all actual boxing
They
people
mixed,
in it.
the real boxing world
Yeah.
with.
It was
and-
good to see.
Yeah, but funny story about Paddy. He was at an event one night, absolutely pissed behind all the media, and he ended up in a massive row with Danny Flexen.
Did he?
Yeah, but Paddy was giving it large, and it was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. But he's a very passionate boxing fan.
Yeah,
and look, he acts and he's got a band. He's in a band as well.
He's in a band?
He's in a band.
I'm trying to get in Creed 4. That's my.
I could see you in it.
That's my.
You got those smooth looks
because
you got those.
I am a
smooth
Rocky
looks.
fanatic. Grew up watching Rocky and Creed.
I'm actually not even a fan of the Creeds. I haven't watched none of them.
I've watched them, but I'm not a fan of the Creeds. But I just want to be part of the franchise.
But you're selling yourself to get that part. I'm not a fan of them.
I love Creeds.
Listen to the ambition on this podcast. It's extraordinary.
But would you ever think about getting into more acting? Because you were actually good in that.
I would love to do more acting.
Yeah.
But I mean, I do a lot of documentary stuff.
That's how you
know, and Talking Head and. You know, I love to talk. I am, you know, I love the oral tradition. Yeah. You know, and I think that again
Don't
is.
we all?
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. I'm straying into the wrong areas. But I think I would love to. But I've had opportunities to do things, and then. You know, as you probably know with all these things, it's about funding, it's where it goes, it's the luck of the draw.
A lot of things is luck of the draw. You know,
it is. But then how much you apply yourself to it and how much you go for it.
Yeah,
you know?
What's one of the most memorable nights you've had in boxing?
One that always sticks out as soon as that question's asked is the night that Joe Calzaghe beat Jeff Lacey in Manchester. I couldn't sleep till Tuesday after that. I was buzzing so much.
I've watched that about 20 times.
Yeah, because this was the guy that was going to take his head off. The super middleweight Mike Tyson. Blah blah blah.
I was a fan of Jeff Lacey, and I was following his career from the Olympics.
Yeah.
And then I thought he was going to beat Calzaghe because I was never a Calzaghe fan, and I was just.
Shock. It was poetry.
The perfect game plan.
Oh, it was poetry that night. It was
perfect game plan. Just punch.
Don't stop.
And because I remember the fight ended, and I went back to I was staying in a lovely hotel suite actually in Manchester that night with parquet floors, the Johnny Cash suite, and it had parquet floors. It was a really big. One of my daughters was with me, and honestly. I mean, it was like a rock star's palace. But I couldn't sleep. I ended up writing my 1,000-word piece. And then us driving back at about 5 a.m, my daughter started. I said, come on, let's go home. I just couldn't sleep. I was so entranced by
the performance.
Yeah, by the performance. But I've got to say, I mean, in terms of fight weeks, I love big fight weeks. The two Fury Wilder fights, Mayweather and Pacquiao, even though it was late. Mayweather and McGregor was amazing to be involved in. Madison Square Garden, I would say. Who have I covered there that I really? Well, the night Anthony Joshua lost was a big night. That was an incredible night. To see the house fall down.
Which one was that?
When he lost to Andy Ruiz.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, I've been to loads of fights. I'm trying to remember all the fights I've been to.
Did you do Michael Conlan's debut?
Yes, I did. In the theatre, theatre. Conor McGregor stole the show, didn't he?
Yeah.
Did you go to Kitty's last week? No.
No, I was. Where was I? I was in the Talk Sports studio last week, so I was across both fights from home. Really,
a bad week. That's this week. It's kind of make up for last week for the Irish boxing fans. We're left wanting last week.
Yeah, well, I scored it a draw, Katie and Chantal Cameron. But on the eye test, I had Cameron dominating the fight.
Yeah.
She looked like the champion. She fought like the champion. And Katie, you know, her hair got ragged. Yeah. She got ragged early in that fight. Her legs looked tired.
They did. I got almost the first round.
So the body language
you couldn't see it changing after one round, could you? No. But Katie's determination and her ability, she clawed her way back into the fight. I mean, I spoke to Chantal and Jamie Moore on a Zoom Tuesday this week, and I was honest with them, and I said, look, I scored it 95-95, even though on my eye test, I wasn't doing it as I went. I had Cameron winning in my head. Yeah. And that often happens when you score a fight. A lot of people out there don't score a fight, remember?
I have had
they do it on the eye test.
I've had a fight where, like, the Mamoon fight I had, and it was very controversial. I got slated after you're robbing and rolling. But see, if you actually watch it, the fight, the rounds he won, he dominated. Yeah. He absolutely beat me up. Yeah. But I nicked a lot of the rounds.
Well, Jamie Moore made that point. When you dominate a round, should it be a 10-8 and not a 10-9?
Maybe.
But that would throw scoring all over the place.
It's already bad enough as it is.
The public don't look at that. They just say, he got battered down rounds, he's lost his fight.
How amazing is it that a sport that you can get legally killed in the ring, I hate to say.
Yeah, well, they tell you that when you go
that is subjective.
I know.
It's subjective on the scoring from 3 different brains and 3 different minds watching it. And we've all got a view, and that's why we are in a sport of opinions.
Yeah.
And it's a bit like stats in boxing. You
Yeah.
can throw loads of opinions around, and there's nothing more interesting than relishing a fight coming up and going over all the possibilities, and that suddenly something else occurs. That's what's phenomenal about our sport.
Do you ever worry that your opinion would get you in trouble?
Oh, I think it does.
I
I think it does, but I'm not giving it deliberately controversial. I'm not a clickbaiter. You know,
You're
because I
saying
think,
your mind.
yeah, I think so. Look,
from your, like it's mad you could say your professional opinion, but obviously, like you say, everyone has an opinion, so there is no right or wrong answer.
there is, but I think there's.
There is mine.
There is. What
Hey,
just,
Davies is boxing.
Listen, there are people out there who think they invented it.
Yeah.
There are people out there who really do think they invented boxing. You understood, because you understand the sport, you understood how I could have scored that 95-95. Or how I scored Haney, Lomachenko 115, 113, but I could have scored it 114, 114 or 115, 113 the other way. There were so many close you've watched that fight. There were so many close rounds in that
100%.
fight.
I had Lomo win.
Yeah, but I wanted him to win, and my heart was with him because of what he's like as a man, what I know of him, my time with him, what's going on in Ukraine. It was poetic justice for him to win. But you could see that fight draw, win or win either way.
Yeah. 100%. I think commentary kind of sways it as well sometimes.
It does.
Because you're watching a fight, and if the commentator keeps on going about one fighter, your mind's even if you don't want it to, your mind's going to start drifting.
Rather like that, I'll only say to someone's face what I would write or say about them in broadcasting. Another rule I have is, don't believe. I try and teach all the young people who work around me this. Don't believe what they tell you in boxing. Believe what you know.
Yeah.
Believe what you know, and that works for life actually as well.
Yeah,
I think.
definitely.
You know,
A lot of times when I watch fights on TV, if I listen to the first couple rounds of commentary or first couple of fights, and if I ever think that they're being heavily biased or talking crap,
they're the house
I
fighter.
just mute it and then put music on and just watch it and then make my own decision.
Yeah, I get it. I do that myself. I mean, if I notice they're biased as well, I definitely turn it off.
Because I have noticed, you do notice it a lot on some of the shows, with somebody was getting battered and they're going, oh yeah, good head movement, but they're not saying anything about the other person who's absolutely pasting them, or it's good blocking, good defence, and they're getting stronger as the round goes on. So,
when I'm doing live commentary on TalkSport, which I'll be doing tomorrow night, because I think I'm a bit ADHD, I have my hyper-focus on when I'm doing it, and I really love it because I'm trying not to say what Adam Catterall or Spencer Oliver or Andy Clark says. I'm looking for something different to say. So I love that, doing that you're not saying, oh, I'm noticing you something you're not noticing, but seeing something that someone who's driving their car home desperately wanting to watch the fight but isn't able to, or is in the kitchen.
You have to paint the picture.
Paint that picture.
What show will you be doing tomorrow?
Billum Smith against Tyrone.
Okay.
Because I've got to go back for that one. So
I'll
I'm
be
here
interested
this
to
week.
put you on TalkSport and watch the fight and just mute the
Some people say they do that.
That's a good
and they
show.
enjoy it because the radio commentary is different to the TV commentary. Let me ask you, something you raised there. Have you been the house fighter and not the house fighter at different events? And does it feel different?
100. I think if I was the house fighter, and probably O'Hardy was probably say the same. He was house fighter over there in England, of course. I boxed on the back foot, and I thought I won a bit of handy. I don't think I lost round. And if I was in Ireland, I'd probably won the fight.
You were countering mostly.
I was countering, but I can see why he won, because he was the aggressor in his home, his England. And I went, you know what? I should have been the aggressor. I should have boxed different because I was over in England. It was my own fault. But if I was in Ireland, I'd probably won that fight. But I can see how he won it.
I think judges mark down counter fighters.
Well, it's unfortunate because the whole thing in boxing is hit and don't be hit. And that's
not until you make a big name for yourself, like Floyd Mayweather. If you look at Floyd's early career, he was very aggressive and he was knocking people out. But once he established himself as a household name, then they're watching him, and then he started getting credit for landing on the ropes. But any fighter coming up wouldn't get away with what Floyd got away with.
Like, as soon as I got beat by O'Hara, I was really fucking down in the dumps because I thought I'd done the perfect game plan. And then I said to myself, you know what? I'm never boxing like that again. And since then, all it's been is war. I just go out and I try and slug it with as much. And I shouldn't because I'm 6'1". I'm a southpaw. I should be boxing, but I looked at that fight and I went, that's what boxing does for you. So I have to go out, have wars, cuts all over me, tough fights.
Are you naturally left-handed?
Yeah.
So, do you think differently as a left-hander? Do you think?
I don't know. I think
Your angles that you can create are different.
Yeah, I think there's so many now left-handers. There's like back in the day
People
when
who
I
aren't even left-handed.
turns.
Everyone switches.
When I
I'm
grew up,
left-handed and I'm boxer.
So you're a converted. You're like Bruce Lee.
Yeah, I wish I
Bruce
had
Lee was a
stayed.
converted southpaw. Yeah.
so when I grew up, I was maybe the only one about 100 boxers that was a southpaw. Now it's 60 boxers are southpaw.
Because they're learning that way from the beginning, or
Because like what Tyrone said, when I joined the boxing club, he was the only southpaw in the gym, but I didn't even know what southpaw meant. And the coach said to me, "What hand do you write with?" It's me, my left. And oh, you're southpaw, interesting. And then everyone's going, "You southpaw, you southpaw," and I was already sticking out because there was only black kid in the gym. I was like, no, actually, I'm right-handed. I was trying to fit in so much. I didn't want to stick out more than what I already was.
now
But
you love
it was a
sticking
big
out.
mistake. It was a
Now
big
you
mistake.
love sticking out, can't you?
If I could reverse back in time,
Yeah, but we can't.
I know
Yeah.
exactly.
I was
So
the
So
opposite
being
opposite
yourself
forward.
is so important.
It's a good
my
lesson.
first year, I was orthodox, and then my coach was like, "There's something wrong with you. You're not
Really?
moving right." He said, "Are you left-handed or right-handed?" I said, "I'm left-handed." And he said, "Right." Changed me around, and then I started winning everything.
Can you box easily left-handed?
Yeah, I can.
Southpaw though, as well.
Yeah.
Do you prefer it? Means you got
Do you know
a
what?
harder
It
jab.
feels
though, doesn't it?
more
Yeah.
natural when I do it, but because I've learnt my whole life as an Orthodox, it doesn't feel. I know that sounds like an oxymoron, but don't feel as comfortable. If you know what I mean.
Is there anything in boxing you would want to change or like to change? What do you think is the worst thing about boxing? For me personally, it would be that everyone's scared to lose their own. Like, I love that in MMA, they just fight the best, and if you get beat, no one cares. You're still fighting a big fight.
I think they can go up a lot quicker in MMA because they're in certain organisations where they are the world champion in that organisation, particularly the UFC, where the best fight the best very quickly.
Yeah, that's so good.
So if you have 4 wins on a trot and 3 of them are against guys who are real seen as studs, you're going to get a title shot. But they're encouraged to sell themselves more. It's quite Machiavellian. It's very much market forces the way they do it. Boxing's a slower burn. It's more old-fashioned. It's obviously times are being brought up to now with the internet and everything. And shows are glitzy and everything. But there's a conveyor belt in boxing, isn't there? There's a novice stage, a prospect stage. Josh Taylor you mentioned. He was. Look how he got elevated by being in the World Boxing Super Series and having boom at fights 13, 14, 15, was it? Or 11, 12, 13.
Very early.
Very early, really, in lots of ways.
Up.
And he flew up. And they were all, I think it was something like 110 to 3 were his opponent's records on 4 or 5 fights in a row that took him into the Ring magazine rating.
Yep.
So I think it's luck. Luck plays a part, doesn't it?
Because of MMA coming up and they're always fighting the best, and we're kind of in a sport where they're dodging the best and trying to work their way up to the top. Do you think there's a lot of people saying that boxing's down and MMA's rising? Do you think that's
No, I
don't
think
think
it's always
boxing
peaks
will
and
ever
troughs.
die.
No, it'll never die, and it can't go underground because it would be worse. People are getting killed in the back of bar rooms then because
What do you
people are on
think?
steroids and all sorts.
Well,
of
what do you
shit,
think about the steroid use in boxing?
I think it's getting a lot.
Enhancing drugs.
It's getting way more. Like, was it back in the day there and you just didn't know about it? Or
It wasn't talked about as much.
Yeah.
I think it was. I think the testing processes are much more active now, and I think they're much more meticulous. This current situation, the big story in the last 6 months with Conor Benn, I think even though he may feel wrongly, treated and, being attacked on social media and lots of us commenting on it, the key was with that, people shouldn't have loopholes through an inherently dangerous sport if there are drugs in your system that are banned for a reason.
And there are, I think across you know, most of the top boxers in the UK and America are using PEDs, and it's not happening
do you
in
really
Ireland.
think that?
I really do, because
Have you got any evidence for that?
I haven't got any evidence, but this is what.
No, but what I'm saying
I'm
is
not
people
just saying,
say that.
no.
That
No.
could be a headline on
Yeah.
in the Mail tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, do you know what, mate?
You know?
Observing it.
But it could be.
From, I've said this before, amateur boxing in Ireland is top 5 in the world, right? And we're always doing so well. And then we turn pro, and we're always struggling. Like, we're not doing as well. But then you get the guys, the American guys and the guys in GB, and they don't really do much as amateurs. And then next thing, they're all world beaters, like out of nowhere.
The thing is, I went over to America.
That's your eye test on them, is
Yeah,
it?
that's
Well,
yeah.
my eye test is, I was over in Philadelphia. That's where I turned pro. In Boots Ennis, you know Boots.
Yeah, yeah.
So he was my gym.
Great fighter.
Oh my
Yeah,
God, I see sparring him.
What's happening with him at the moment?
I don't know. He has not a fight in a way.
No.
Yeah, he's
Don't
training
forget-
away.
Did he have
massive
problems?
thing.
Did he have legal problems?
He has a lot of, I think, a lot of cooks in the
Managerial
kitchen.
issues, yeah.
He's a lot of like couple of managers.
Did he get into trouble over something recently?
No, I don't think so. He's actually a really nice kid. He
No,
wouldn't.
because he was one of the dark horses of the welterweight division at one time, wasn't
See, when I went over, I went to him, and I was only like 2 or 3-0, and I went to the gym, and Boots was there, and there was no one for me to spar. And his father, Bosie, said, "Look, you'll spar my son." I said, "What age is your son?" I was 20 at the time. He's 15, something like that. And I went, that kid? And he said, "Yeah, that kid." And I said, "Much fights has he got?" And he said, 2 amateur fights. And I said, "Fuck, I'm gonna kill this kid." And I jumped in. I sparred the fuck. I couldn't hit him. He was just going,
Really?
bum, bum.
Really? Really?
Me and him were good spars, but that day he battered me. And I went, a 15-year-old just battered me. What the fuck is happening?
Can't judge a book by the
He's
cover
so
in this
good.
sport. Yeah.
He was so
What
good.
were you going to say about being in America?
Oh,
Yeah.
being in America, like, everyone in the gym, I went to the gym's packed, and I went around the gym, I said, "How many fights have you had?" No one's had fights. And I said, "How long have you been here?" And I've been here 3 years, 2 years. And I said,
Box years,
"Why have you not fought?" And they said, "Oh, we're just waiting till the pros." So they go in with the main frame, fuck amateurs, they just want to be a pro. They're all boxing like pros, flat-footed, learn how to throw punches properly. And
Different culture?
different culture, and I think in Ireland, our culture is amateur system, and we're so good at amateur.
Learn the art.
Yeah,
Learn
we're
the
so
art.
good at that,
Yeah.
and then we lost it in transition to the pros. So, I think over in the States, they're not good. Well, they're good at amateur,
They're
but
good now. They're back.
but back
they're
then,
yeah.
they
They
weren't
had
great
a
at
quiet
amateur because
couple of
all
years,
of what it was pro, and that's why they're so successful.
See,
as
there's
pros.
your entry strategy into it. You talked about how your life is, both of you. Don't forget to have the exit strategy. Don't about where you're going with it, where you're going to take it afterwards.
Yeah.
I mean, my advice to all young fighters is, when you get money, buy a couple of rental properties, put it into property.
I've only
Don't-
started doing that now. Like,
No, but it's so important
Yeah.
because you want to know. You don't want to go after putting yourself through what you do and the massive highs and the lows you have to deal with afterwards. You probably won't be able to go and do something mundane afterwards. It's going to have to give you an equivalent level of thrill. You know, whether that be travelling or doing, jumping from planes or whatever it's going to be.
I always
you
like
know?
to say to the younger ones that are getting decent money now, don't be silly with it, because
No.
I was silly with it, and you think, I'm going to be boxing forever, I'm going to be getting this kind of money forever,
Yeah,
but it is going to dry up eventually, so
Yeah,
you need to
it
be
does.
smart with your money. We've only got a short window
Yeah.
of making good money, so you have to invest
I
it properly.
hear all it, but then when COVID came around,
I hear
to
you.
spend money, y'all. No, when COVID came around, and it's like, Jesus, you were sitting there saving, and now you can't leave the house for 2 years. What would you have done? So I'm like, fuck it, you don't know what's coming around tomorrow.
Yeah.
Sure, just
And
spend
also,
your
yeah,
life
this-
savings.
Squandered all the money.
You asked about
That's
what-
how I'm broke.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, we're all broke sometimes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then you build again.
It's up and
it.
down, up
It
and
is
down.
up and down.
Money comes.
You asked about what's changed in boxing. The most disappointing thing, apart from we've mentioned PDs in the sport, is I suppose it's human nature. It's very frustrating with the heavyweight division at the moment because the top 5 or 6 have got so much money available to them, and there's when you there's a level where people earn an extraordinary amount of money. If I said to you guys, like, will you fight for that one for 2 million? Well, they're arguing about 20
No,
million, 30 million.
no.
And they don't know right now. And yes, they've got to step in the ring and fight, and it's their legacy, and some of them have unbeaten records, and they are dealing with things. I don't think Fury and Usyk have a lot of fear. I don't think they have a lot of nerves, those two. I think they're weird individuals in that way. But that's what I find disappointing, when money gets in the way of fights being made.
That annoys me.
Yeah, for 2 million, you would fight their own granny for fucking
the Spencer and Crawford fight only get made now. It should be made about 5 years ago.
Well, it was like Mayweather and Pacquiao.
That one as well.
And I think Crawford wins that hands down.
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, 100. I think Spencer has been on the level that Crawford is, and
I think it's a pick 'em fight again.
Do you?
Once again, because a couple of years ago I would have fancied Crawford, but Crawford's a few years older than Spence.
I just think he makes adjustments so well.
Yeah, he's so good.
They might
He's
need
so
to fight
ring
twice to have it out.
We're wrapping up here, but
hold
we
on.
want to just bring into
But this fight,
Shaka Stevenson is my pick for the guy that's going to the
going to
very
take
top.
over, 100%, 100%.
Yeah,
Only Davis could beat him, Tank Davis, but I just don't think anyone's going to beat him.
Tank would beat him.
Yeah, well, he might.
Stevenson's got
What about this fight this week?
Yeah, this week. Who are you picking for Conlan Lopez?
I am picking, even though people are trying to persuade me the other way, I'm picking Conlan to do it on points.
Okay.
But he needs, he
He's just stay smart and disciplined.
Yeah, smart and disciplined, but engage at times as well. But not watch. You know how the analogy I'm saying is, because he's called the deer, Venado. He springs around. He's very unorthodox, Lopez. He's got his own style, isn't he? He's got power, but he's very springy. That weird movement. I think there were times in that fight with Josh Warrington where he wanted to. He was using the referee very cleverly, saying, Josh was being dirty. I don't think Josh was that dirty in that fight, to be honest. But Lopez was on it straight away. I think with Conlan, he's got to engage in close quarters at times, but not too much. I think he's a better boxer.
I think
all-round boxer.
Much better.
And maybe switch quite a lot as well, because he does box equally well. On
I think Lopez jumps in, he rushes a bit too much sometimes.
I hope he wins, and I hope Lee Wood wins, and they do the rematch. But it could easily go the other way.
Yeah.
And I'm picking Coley to win by late stoppage against Chris William-Smith. But also, I think Lara may catch up with Wood again in the late round.
I think he didn't make a weight.
Yeah, but they'll still fight though, won't they?
Yeah, they'll
still
the title. But I think that's kind of like, sometimes when you hear someone make weight, you know how much they were struggling. You know how much it took out of them.
He's very hench.
Yeah, so maybe that might lean in Wood's favour, I don't know. But personally, I do think Lara will win. But because that kind of weight issue, I think there's more of a chance for Wood. But we're wrapping up here. Was it brilliant to have you, Gareth?
Yeah. No, it's an absolute pleasure.
We usually do a thing at the end of every episode where we pick three
names.
Yeah. Right. Go on then.
Go ahead.
So the three names is, you have to smack one, blank one, ignore them, or buy them a Dragon Claw whiskey. So
buy them one.
Buy them a drink, yeah.
So we've got three people for it. Paddy Constantine.
Oh yeah.
We've got Liam McCourt. And who's the third?
Steve Bunce.
Well, I buy Steve Bunce
with Dragon Claw.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
Just going to
let's have to stick together.
Yeah, because we're rivals. Yeah.
You can't be punching me.
I'll lose a little bit of weight and punch Paddy Constantine. Sorry, Paddy.
He loves
I can't punch Leah.
He loves a
and I'm going to ignore Leah because I beat her at chess.
Oh, I remember that actually, yeah.
I beat her at chess and she's never forgotten it. Yeah. And she was like a Northern Irish junior chess champion.
Was she?
She absolutely wouldn't let it go. I tell you what, you wouldn't want to fight her.
Yeah.
She's so dogged, determined. I'm really pleased how well she's doing
She's in
Bellator, and she will win a world title eventually. Because they were difficult.
Yeah,
they were difficult.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you for coming on.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. I look forward to us all being in that movie together.
Let's do it.
Right, folks, listen, don't forget to get on the Patreon, £2 a month. Hit the website, whiskeyandweight.com for the merch. McKenna,
Did you
once
draw
again.
that? Did you draw
My
that?
daughter drew it.
That's beautiful. How old is she?
She drew when she was about 10. She's 12 now.
It's fantastic.
I know, it's good.
She's an artist.
Do you know what? We've got loads of merchandise. Tyrone won't wear it for whatever reason. He just refuses to wear it.
Really.
Annoying.
But folks, make sure you get on. If Tyrone won't bet, someone has to bet. And
Well, tune in next week, subscribe and share it to everyone because they're legends.